Yes, today we are going to discuss about data element. So in the previous session, we discussed about what is a domain. Okay. Now, okay. So domain is nothing but it is a technical properties. Let's say you want to create a name. You want to create a column mobile number. You want to create a column email ID. You want to create a column serial number. Okay, so for all that, we need some technical properties. So for all the technical properties is you are going to assign the data type. The data type is nothing but domain. Okay, so let's see some domains. So here we have some domains: integer type, numeric data types, character data types. Integer 1, integer 2, integer 4, integer 8 are the types of standard data types, float data type, and packed data type. Coming to the character, so all these only going to store numbers. Other than number, it won't store any character, nothing. Okay, so to store characters, character data type, date, time is also a form of character, numeric data type, and we have one more string data type. Okay, so in the previous session we discussed, okay, integer is nothing but it is going to store only a number. What is meant by a float means it is going to store decimal values up to 16 decimals. Okay, 9.00000 like this, 16 decimals, the value is going to store up to 16 decimals. Coming to the packed, here we have restriction. We can restrict the data. Let's say the packed is 10, length of 10. Okay. So out of this, you can decide what is for number, what is for decimal. Let's say 6 comma 4 means if you create any number 9.0000 like this, it will store 9.000. So this kind of number, 6 digits is allocated for number, 4 is allocated for decimal, total length is 10. So this is the advantage of packed. In the packed, you can decide how much decimal length you want. But in float, it is not possible for you. This is system defined up to 16 decimals will be defined by the system. Clear? What is the difference
Okay.
between float and packed? In
Uh,
interview, this is an important question. What is the difference between float and packed? Because you are going to design the solution to the customers. If they want 16-digit scientific calculations, we are going to use float. For normal calculations, we are going to use a packed with custom length. Coming to the character data types, so character CHAR by default, it allow you only single character, but here you have a flexibility how much length you want. Let's say character 100. So it will allocate 100 spaces for you. So we have one more character data type, string. So it will allocate by default 256 character space minimum. Maximum, whatever you want, you can store. It's a paragraph or essay, whatever you want, you can store inside this string. Got the difference? Character
uh,
by default, single character space. If you don't mention anything, A type C means by default, it is single character length. If you don't mention, let's say A type string means it have by default minimum 256 characters length. So that is the beauty of string. So whenever you want to store a paragraphs, essays, in such scenarios, you are going to use this. So date format, this is system storing format. This is a display format. So we call it as output format. In the real time, we are going to call it as output format. This is storing format. Okay. Similarly, for time also, hour, minutes, seconds, while displaying it is going to attach the colons. Okay. So these are all the types of data types. Now let's continue the session for how to create a domain. Okay. So how to create a domain? Let's say I want to create a serial number. I want to create a serial number domain. Okay. The first one is serial number. Column name, data type. Okay. So I want to provide a column name is serial number. So it is going to store only integers. I am going to give integer 4. I want to store name. So for this, I am going to give character 40. So I want to store email ID. So I'm going to give character 160. I want to
What
store,
PPT only visible?
sorry.
PPT only visible. You're sharing any Excel sheet, no? Sharing.
Yeah, I'm sharing an Excel sheet. Let me reshare everything.
Okay, okay. Not visible Excel sheet.
Yeah, now
No, no.
Excel.
No, visible. No, no, visible.
Okay, sorry. Okay, serial number integer 4. Name character 40. Email ID character 160. Let's say I want to store some remarks. So remarks may be a huge data. So I want to mention string format. So let's try to create all these all these domains now. Okay. So let's try to create one by one domain now. So if I want to create a domain, what is the character it should begin with? This object name. Any object name, custom object name should begin with an SAP with which character?
Yes. Why? Oh, why to get?
Y or Z it should begin with. Okay. Y, uh, Y or Z. So let me give Z a serial number because in previous so many students may created that. So that's why I'm mentioning ZAA. Take a copy of this and go to the system. How to go to the system? I'll let you know in the next post this session. I will explain how to log in and all. So double click on it. Okay. Just one moment. Is screen visible now?
It's visible.
Yes. Now let me log in into the system. So whenever you log in for the first time, it will ask you a password. We provide one default password. Okay. So it will ask you to reset your own password. It is minimum 10 character length with alphanumeric.
Okay.
Okay. Now, so go to SC11. This is our first transaction code and provide domain name. Choose the radio button domain. Create a domain ZAA. So let me make it as ZA4 ZB4 serial number. Okay, click on create serial number. Okay, now I am providing the data type integer 4. So why integer 4? Because it can store maximum up to 32,000 number. See here, integer 1 can store from 0 to 255 numbers. Integer 2 can store up to 32,767. So this is a positive number. If you add this also, it is going to store approximately 65,000. So if you don't use negative numbers, so that space also you have to double it here up to 65,000. So integer 8 means it is going to store up to 20 digit number. So by default, it's a good preference to use integer 4 always. Okay, so up to 10 digits, you can store the number. See here, the number is 10, but output length is 11 because it will allocate one space for sign symbol plus or minus positive number or negative number. You can see while storing the data in the system, it is going to store in 10 digits. Okay. But while displaying the data, whether it is a positive number or negative number, so one character will be added here, 11. So save it. Click on local object and check for any errors and activate it. So what is the meaning of this? So remember, we have some default functions to do in for any object. Okay. So default functions for any object. Default actions for any object. So the first one is you need to remember save the object. So what happens when you save the object? Immediately it stores the data temporarily in a RAM memory. Okay. Next, while saving the data, always use $TMP. So in the project classes, I will explain why you have to use $TMP. So we have other packages also. I'll let you know at that point of time. Now, click on check button. Okay. So what is this check button? It evaluate your object, let you know if any warnings or errors. Let's say you did some mistake. Okay. So now let me go back. I'm not providing this serial number. So trying to save this. What it is saying? Make an entry in the mandatory field short description. So such kind of validation will be performed by the system if you hit this is a check symbol. Check means whatever the object I created is meeting the requirement or not. So it is meeting the principles, policies or not. Okay. So that will be cross verified. So if you provide perfectly everything, click on active. So whenever you click on active button, what happens is The data will be stored permanently in the hard disk. Activate. Stores data permanently in hard disk for reusability. Okay, got it? Got the difference?
Got it.
Any questions so far?
Got it.
Okay, so we have RAM memory. Okay, so it's temporarily stored in a RAM memory. Now, so once you save permanently, so it will store the data in the database. Yes. Okay. So whenever you click on action one will store your data in the temporary memory. So this is action one. This is action three. It will store the data permanently for the next reusability purpose. Check means, is there any errors? So while creating any object in the system, are you facing any error or not? So it's verify or you did anything wrong or not. So the check operation will be performed. So one is save, two is check, third one is activate. So these three functions you are going to use from now onwards for all objects. Okay, till end of our class, 40 classes, we are going to use these three functions for every object. This is common. $TMP is nothing but to group the packages in a local folder. So $TMP is nothing but local folder. Local folder. It's a kind of test work. So it's not a productive code. It is a test code. Clear?
Clear.
Okay. Now let me create ZB4 underscore. So use prefix ZB4. Okay. Now let me create the name in the same fashion. ZB4 name. I want to create this. Go to the SAP system. So activate means it is stored permanently in the database. So how should I know it is stored or not? ZB4 put star. Star means after this character. Maybe anything. Star means any word, anything with starting with ZB4, anything. Click on F4. Now you see SNO came automatically. Okay, means this value is permanently stored in the database. Now go
It's
here.
already in the database, no?
Yes, that is already in the
Okay.
database. Now let me create name. Click on create option. Name. Provide the data type character 60. Okay. So character CHAR. Provide the number of characters over here 60. Click on save. It is asking a package. Put it a local folder, test folder. Click on local object. Check for any errors and activate it. If you observe, earlier it is new. Now it is active. New means the data is in RAM memory. Active means which is stored permanently in the database. Let's say you did some changes. Names. Now you see it's revised. So the data is already stored in the database. So for the stored data, you are doing some updates. Updates means it is called as a revised. Revised means you did some updates. Okay. Click on active. So always single word should be appear here, only active. Otherwise, whatever the changes you did, that will be lost. That won't be applicable. Okay. So now what you did is, okay. So from here to here, again, it will go to the new state. Okay. Whenever you click on change, so you updated anything, it will goes to a state called as revised. Again, you have to active the data permanently written in the system. So this is an important point you need to remember from interview perspective. Click on active, then only the latest changes are also stored permanently in the database. Clear?
Okay.
Now the assignment for you is you have to create the remaining two data types. Okay. So this is the assignment for you.
Okay.
Any questions, any doubts so far?
Oh, no. Yeah.
Okay. Now, next, so far we discussed about the concept is domain. This is the concept we discussed. Now we are going to discuss about data element. Let me take the same. Okay. Now, let me change this first name, last name, surname, okay, then student ID. Okay. So for all these, I want to refer the same domain. So you have to refer the domain. So what is the domain name I already created? ZB4. So this is the domain I created. Now, what is the additional task you have to take care of here? Field label. So field name. So what type of different names you want to provide? So that is the additional field we are going to provide. Okay. So with this, we are going to differentiate in the real world. So what it is? Okay. So this we have three types of name: short name, okay, medium name, and long name, and the final one is label. Total four things we have. Okay, total four things we have. Now let me mention that. Okay, so go to the system and create this. Okay, so now provide, here it is, data element name. So this is the data element name. Now let me go to the system, go back. This is the domain you created. Now choose the radio button data type, provide ZB4, use DE, data element means this is the identification. I'll tell you this why I'm mentioning DE little later on. So first name, click on create, click on data element. So provide student first name. So provide the domain. We already created a domain, ZB4 underscore name. Hit enter button. Whenever you hit enter button, automatically the data type and length will be filled over here. See now, observe carefully. Whenever I hit enter button, automatically character 60 or pre-filled from the domain values. Now go to the field label. See here, short name, medium name, long name, label is nothing but heading. So I'll tell you later. So what is the use of this? Okay. So first we'll see the advantages of it. Let's say medium name, student first name. Okay. Now take a copy of it, place it everywhere. So what is the difference between short, medium, long, and heading? Okay. Let's say My column visibility is less than 10 characters. So let's say this is the first name. Okay. If it is this column width is less than 10 character, this will be displayed. Let's say my column width is 20 characters. So what system will do is automatically it have some intelligence. It will check student first name. So instead of first name, it will display this column name. Column name will be varied dynamically depending upon the length. Okay, if the length is less than 10 character, short name will be displayed. If the length is less than 20 character, medium name will be displayed. If the length is less than 40 character, long name will be displayed. So sorry. If the length is more than 20 characters, long name will be displayed on the screen. So this is useful for reports purpose. So later on, I'll show you what is the use of it. Heading means this is called as heading. So if I go to this last changed is heading. So this kind of headings, whenever you want to display, so this value will be populated. Hit the enter button. Now you see the maximum length. If the maximum length is 10 characters, it will be displayed. If the column maximum length is 20 characters, this will be displayed. If the column length is greater than 20 characters, this will be displayed. If the column is label, so up to 55 characters, it will be displayed. So this is useful for to identify the column name. What is the column name? Clear?
Clear.
So check now. Click on local object. Check for any errors. Activated. See, now it is activated. Similarly, the task for you is middle name, last name you have to create. That is the assignment for you. Clear?
Okay.
So first name, student, first name. Similarly, we copied the other one. Student, first name. Label also we given student, first name. So this way you have to use. What is the data element name we created? The data element name we created is ZP4D first name. Okay. Now, why we mention DE? In real time, okay, let's say if you go to from one company to another company, someone is going to replace you. Okay. At that point of time, by seeing the object name itself, they have to identify. Okay, what is this? For domain, we always use in real time, the best practice is DO. So whenever you are going to create any email ID, you have to follow the naming convention. We call the concept is naming convention. DO underscore email ID. You have to create like this. Okay. ZB4 DO underscore remarks. So any other developer by seeing itself, they can tell this object is belongs to domain. Clear?
Okay.
Differentiation. So this naming convention will helps to identify the objects very easily without going into the details. Without going into the details, by seeing this, we can easily identify. So for that purpose, we will follow the naming convention. So these two are the assignments for you. This is an assignment 5. Now let me create student ID. So I'm going to use a serial number over here. Go back. If you click on escape button, it will go to the back screen. Serial number. Click on create. Click on data element. Provide a meaningful description. So try without providing a student description, what will happens. So ZB4 SNO. Hit enter button. What it is saying? Make an entry in the mandatory field. You have to do some kind of hands-on. So if I don't fill this field, what happens? Like that, you have to do some trial and error method. Okay. So then only you will explore the subject. Student serial number. Okay. So go to the field label SNO. So if the character is very less than 10, serial number. If the character is more than 10 character, 20 character, serial number. Student serial number. So like this, depends upon the visibility of the column length. This will be adjusted accordingly. Clear?
Okay.
If the column is up to 10 characters, this name will be populated automatically. If column width is up to 20 characters, this will be displayed. Let's say we have a case in your reports. Whenever you maximize this, okay, student serial number will be appeared. So like this, it will come student serial number. So let's say whenever I am reduce this, so what happens is serial number like this, it will be appear. If I reduce this column width a little more, what happens is serial number. If I reduce little more, so simply it will display SNO. So this is the beauty of this field label. Clear?
Okay.
Yes. So this is about data element. So what is the interesting point in this data element? Why we don't have this feature in the domain? The reason is domains are only for internal use. Okay. So domains we will never use for reusability purpose. So it's a we never refer this objects directly in the programming anywhere. Okay. So this is, so if you want to understand the concept, let me go to the previous diagram. So domain is the base. So this is not at all visible. It won't have a meaningful name. Okay. So let's say if you go to your hometown, if they talk with employee ID, so it's little tough to identify them, right? Even though we are employees in an office, ID is meaningful within the office premises. Once you come out of any function, your employee ID is not at all understandable for others, correct?
That's correct.
Similarly, domain is useful for internal purpose. It have only technical information. Okay, so detailed information for public usage information, only data element will have. So data element have domain plus field label. So by seeing the first name, you can easily understood what is the first name, right? So here we have a meaningful one. That's why we create as many as data elements by using a single domain. So we created a domain name. With help of this, we created we can create first name, surname, middle name, last name, right? We can create as many as the technical properties are same. Father name, mother name. Clear? So this with the
Yes,
help of single domain, we can create these many data elements. So that is the beauty of reusability. Clear?
that's clear.
Okay. This is data. Now, coming to the next topic, is this clear so far? Any questions before moving to the next topic?
Clear now.
Okay. So next, we are going to discuss about structure. Okay. Now the next topic is structure. What is meant by a structure? Structure means it is a collection of fields. It is collection of fields. So what is the usage of this structure? Let's say you want to create an attendance register. Okay. So what is the structure for this? Serial number, student name, okay, date 1, Like this, you are going to fill up to date 31. So this is one structure for attendance report. Okay, clear? Let's
Clear.
say I want to create one more table. So the table name is so trip plan. Okay, so what is this trip plan? Serial number, name, paid amount, source place, so from where they came, and travel date, travel duration, duration of dates. So this is the trip plan table. So if you want to design any trip plan table, so these are the required fields. Clear?
Clear.
Let's say you want to create a table for bike service. Okay, serial number, name, bike model, and driving license, RC, and then date for service, date for delivery. This is one structure. Means structure is nothing but collection of fields to organize the meaningful record for the real business. Clear?
Yes, clear.
Very simple. What is meant by structure? Structure means it's a group of fields to form a meaningful business record. Okay. So let's say student number. Now let me make it a simple student number. Name, date 1, date 2. Let's say serial number 1, 2, 3, 4. Total 4 students in class. Mr. A, Mr. B, Mr. C, Mr. D. So he came today. He came today. So all are absent. Only this guy is present. So now you can store the real-time data, right?
Yes.
So this data you can store for future purpose also. Let's say after 1 year, parents will come. So how many days my children absent for the college? So simply you can open this report. You can count how many absents are there against each month, correct?
Yes.
So to gather, so remember, structure can store only one record of data. Only one record of data it can hold at a time. Okay. Now, what is this record holding and all? We'll see later on. For now, group of fields to form a meaningful business record is called as a structure. Clear?
Yes, clear.
Okay. Now let me go to create a structure. So choose the same data type. What is the naming convention we follow in the real time? In the real time, for structure, we follow the naming convention ST. ST means structure. So while moving on, we will learn more naming conventions. Naming conventions. Yes. These are the naming conventions. I'll add few more in our next classes. Okay. Now coming to the structure. Okay. We also call it as identifier. How to identify very easily. Now coming to the structure, how to create the structure. So under the data type, we have total 3. Data element, structure, table type. So we'll see table type little later on. For now, we already discussed what is the data element, what is the structure, Table type we will see later on. Now let's see the structure. So provide ST at score student attendance. Click on create. Choose here structure. Click on OK. Student attendance report. Attendance structure. So this structure is useful for us little later on, but this is a sequence we have to follow. Provide the serial number, name, date 1, date 2, okay, date 3. Now provide the here data element. Component type is nothing but data element. Provide the data element Z B4 star. I forgot. So what is the serial number I provided for my serial number column name? I forgot. Put star, hit F4 button. Click on data elements. See here, D is serial number. So this way you can easily identify. If you follow the naming convention, this is the beauty of advantage. Now go to the first name. Similarly, you can use directly built-in data types, but that is not recommended. Click on built-in data type. Here you can provide character 1, single character. Single character. Character 1 because yes or no. X means present, space means absent. Okay. Single character is fine. So day 1, day 2, day 3. This is the meaningful short description. But in real time, we should never use this type of declaration. I am showing you this is also a possible way for your quick testing purpose. But in real time, we never follow this kind of declarations. We always do the declarations, data element, it have domain. So domain have technical properties. So that is the right way. Save it. Click on local object, check for any errors and activate it. See, structure is activated. Here,
Yes, okay.
yeah. So now you try to understand. So this is field 1. This field have some technical properties. So this field should have a meaningful name. So field with the technical properties plus meaningful name is called as data element. A field only with the technical property is called as domain. Clear?
Yes, clear.
Collection of different types of fields is called as structure.
Structure.
Structure can store one record at a time. So this you cannot see directly. Whenever you are doing some programming at that point of time, you can see what is a structure. Structure can hold maximum one record in the memory. So what is mean by memory? Character 60. Up to 60 characters, whatever you provide, that will be stored inside this field, this column. Clear? Yeah, we stop up to here. Create similar structure instead of student attendance, create student trip. So we discussed one more example over here. This is an assignment for you. Create trip plan. Similarly, create bike service. So these two are the assignment for you. Okay.
Okay.
So total 4 assignments. So create some domains. So these two are the assignments for you. I'm highlighting little red color, violet color. Yeah. And this is an assignment for you. And similarly, these two are the assignment for you. Any questions, any doubts so far?
Oh,
Okay. So tomorrow we will continue with table creations and table maintenance. Okay.